could never accuse my next guest of being typecast as a ballroom dancer. He twisted for Scotland. He has appeared on stage in just his hat and wellies. He's earned the title the Genghis Khan of the Gorbals. He is Billy Connolly. Well, no need for introductions here. You all know each other, old mates.
I know them.
Yes.
I know these men. I glide with ease through the theatre district. I'm no stranger to showbiz personalities. I know Chris via Pamela. They made a film together. And Jimmy and I go back quite a long time. And I like him. I think he's really good.
I like your hair. It's for a film. He's the new Tarzan, Lord Greystreak. I think he looks great.
It's called Skunk. You know? I like it. I've grown to really like it, and it's getting kind of hooker blonde now. I love it, and it always reminds me of a line that Peter McDougall wrote about a Scottish hooker. He said, "She had hair like corn growing on tarmac." Isn't that nice?
Yes, it's very moving.
But Jimmy and I must tell you, Jimmy and I were once prizes in a contest. It was one of those, it was a soft drinks firm, and it was one of those things, would you like to have dinner with the stars? Now, I'd seen them in newspapers all my life, and I thought, God, I wish I was famous, you know. And some beautiful woman would say, "Yeah, I'd like to have dinner with him," and off you go to the Savoy or somewhere. But there we all went. It was brilliant. We all went to the, what do you call it? Place, the Grosvenor
House,
Park Lane and everything. And it was a great laugh. It was the first time that we were funny together, like heckling the other show business guys and being funny. And the whole thing got dirty and degenerate. And people started to dislike their guests. Started to dislike the people who had won them. And really hurting them and insulting them by saying terrible, dirty things. But we all got a bit sloshed, you know. I don't think he was okay. I got drunk, and we went to a club called the Purple Onion, and I got trousered. And he took me out for the night. And what I'll always remember is we had the same rock. Remember you played me records in your house?
All the rock and roll records.
Yeah, and Clyde McPhatter and all these people, great heroes of mine. And I was showing them how to jive, dancing with a door. I used to practice with a door and all that. And I remember going to bed in Jimmy's house, and I woke up in the night, bursting to pee. I was in terrible... I couldn't find the toilet, and I couldn't find the light switch, and I'm sure the man to this day thinks I'm some kind of pervert. I looked in every door, I was in every cupboard, creeping around his house. But that's how he's my friend.
Groaning all the time as well.
Oh,
yeah.
God, moaning.
The kids were great, because in the morning they were going to school. They said, a madman came in the room. Oh, no, sorry, oh, no.
People, oh God! And I had once heard a story about a guy who was in the same position, and he couldn't find it. He was in a stranger's house, and he went, "Oh God, I'm going to have to do something." And he didn't want to pee out the window because he didn't know what side was the street in the back garden. He God, I might pee in a policeman or something. So he grabbed a vase on the mantelpiece and went, "Oh God, shh." And then he left the house, and everything was fine. Until months later, somebody said, "I don't ever want to speak to you. You peed in the remains of my Uncle Harry." It's one of these urns, you know.
It may seem...
Not in front of Superman.
The last time I was at Billy's house, the Pope was there.
Oh, that's great.
I went over to Billy's house, walk in there, nice cocktail party, and the Pope was serving hors d'oeuvres. And the guy was a dead ringer for the Pope, the makeup and everything just going around.
It was wonderful. Pamela had a cake made for me, and she got this, a Pope look-alike, to come out the cake, you see. Happy birthday, it was a cake. And he's called Mr. Meredith, and he lives in Wales. Well, Mr. Meredith came out the cake. He was brilliant.
Yeah, he was great.
It was breathtaking, you know. It's funny enough, she was going to get Arthur Scargill. real Arthur, because, you know, I like Arthur very much, and she was going to get him, but she couldn't get him, and she got the Pope. Same thing. Yeah, but here the man came out, and rightfully enough, he went and got smashed with everybody else, right, drinking. And the Pope was sort of 4 seats to the wind. He had missed his train. He's lying on the couch. And I was standing with George Melly, and there was 3 people talking to the Pope, and one had blue hair and leather with studs and all that, and they were from a rock band, and the Pope was rabbiting away. George Melly says, "Look, it's the Temptation of St Anthony."
I wish you brought photographs.
Wonderful.
I said a bit earlier, I've got Superman, I've got Super Scot and Super Scouse here. Have you ever needed to tone down, the accent, the Scottish way of doing things for any audience, ever?
I've tried, and I can't do it. I'm found out, you know. Oh, sorry. I can. Outside, all of it.
Wait.
So, what was I saying?
Doesn't matter.
What I can change a little and make it clearer, slower, lower, higher. But I can't sustain any other accent. I can do it for breathtaking fractions of seconds, and then I just fall to bits, and it's stupid and sounds awful.
Even for the Americans? Yeah.
Oh, for the Americans, well, Americans are very good because they listen they're great listeners, Americans. I think it's because it's such a... They're very, very good listeners. But I was working in a place in Boston once, and it was purgatory. Really, it was 7 weeks in this bar. It was an Irish-American bar, and I was one of the singers. Oh, God, I'll never forget it. Oh, they hated me the minute they saw me. And I was singing, trying to be... And God, I hated it. And one night I was coming in, and the hat check girl was there and said, "Hi." She was very nice. She hadn't heard my act. You know, she liked everybody. "Hello," and I said, "Hi." She said, "You're Scottish, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes, I am, indeed." And she said, "Don't you Scottish people have a language of your own?" And I said, "We certainly have." And she said, "Do you speak this?" I said, "Fluently." I couldn't save my life with Gaelic, you know. And I said, "Would you like me to teach you?" She said, "Oh, yeah, that'd be..." And it was lovely for me, because I had a friend at the time, he's now dead. His name was Josh McRae. He's a great singer in Scotland. And I said, "Well, hello in Scottish is Josh McRae." She said, "Yeah, I can hear the music of it." Josh McRae. She got it, well, terrific. And I said, "And the answer is, okay." I said, "If you say Josh McRae, I say okay. If I say Josh..." And every night for 7 weeks, it was lovely. She'd really wait for me, you know. And she goes, "Josh McRae! Okay!" But the best thing that happened, one night, as I was doing a spoof, I said, "Oh yeah, Scottish, I know what you want. You take the high road," and they went, "And I'll take the low." The audience went crazy. I thought, oh yeah. So I was just accompanying them, "And I'll be in Scotland." But that's all I knew, so I did it again. And it was like cabaret, there was people marching across. So the following night, I thought, "Now, what am I going to do? I need this." So I wrote 7 verses. So as this would come up every time, and solemn verses. So I wrote it about a guy falling in love on the banks of Loch Lomond. And his father wouldn't let him marry this girl. So he jumped off Ben Lomond into Loch Lomond. It's a physical impossibility, unless you're him.
Speaking of that, it's difficult to believe, looking at you in your full glory now, that you were a Boy Scout.
Oh, I was a scout, and it was lovely. I was a cub first, and when you're in the cubs, you get a wee thing on your jersey, a wee triangle, a coloured triangle that says what? You know, you're divided into 6s. And everybody was red and green and blue and yellow and all that. I was in the grey 6. And we were kind of grey, you know, we all sort of stood about being grey. But then I wanted to be a scout, and I became one. And I thought, and they're in patrols. And they're all like lions and wolves and cobras and buffaloes. And I was in the peeweet. I was a peeweet. And funnily enough, Years later, when I started to play music, I met Jerry Rafferty, and we were talking, and he was a peewee as well.
What were you doing? Were you a scout?
Yeah, for a while. Yeah.
Do you remember what patrol you were in?
I really can't. I only went in because I enjoyed going to camp up at Windermere and all that, and the swimming and everything. That was the great part of it, really.
It was fun.
You know, the outdoors, and good. That was good fun when you were a kid.
Now, Tarby was saying, you know, the Beatles was his scene. What was yours?
Mine was, well, the Beatles, sure, but there was a lot of, I liked Angus Cain and the Volcanoes.
I think I missed it.
Yeah, most people missed them.
Jockstrap and the two swingers.
I was a great one for the 6-5 special and all that, and television, and I remember Jim Dale was a rock singer, though, the Piccadilly line and all that. And, yeah, but I enjoyed that. It was a great era, that pre-disco era. You know, I was too young to be a teddy boy. You know, and my parents wouldn't let me when the Teddy Boys were there. So I got the next one, the sort of groovy Italian style, short jacket, 3 buttons, 3 bum freezer jacket, winkle pickers. And I had this enormous pair of winkle pickers, shoes. And the style was white socks and big long winkle pickers with Cuban heels. But mine, I had basket weave ones, and they cracked here. And there was a hole in them, so you could see my sock through my shoe. So I used to polish my sock.
Were you sexually desirable?
I was sexually avoidable. I thought I was okay. I was all Old Spice and acne. Tie and hanky to match. That was a trendy thing, a lilac tie and hanky. But the hanky was only a wee thing, like 3 points. And when you pulled it out, it was a piece of paper.
Yes, I did have the same one.
I said, what if I go out with Deborah Carr? And she starts to cry. I can't go, here, darling. Unless it's blotting paper.
That's all right. Yeah. We can fix it.
I tried things to be attractive to women. You know, I had a motorbike and they didn't like me. I smelled of petrol. You know, I tried to fancy clothes. They didn't like me. I smelled of aftershave and I was all acne and I sort of ran all the time. And I could dance, but I couldn't turn corners. You know, so I would dance till we got to the stage, you know. So I had to crash into folk because I was dancing. Oh, sorry, woof. I danced right out the door and up the street.
So, happy days. Listen, before you, or I should say, afore you go.
Afore you go, have a large one. Before you go, get that down your body. Oh, thanks very much. Would you another crumpet, Vicar? No, thank you. That's what they say. That's what they say in Scotland when the priest's in the house or the minister and the dog farts. Another crumpet, Vicar.
A great gag about that. There's a lion at the waterhole in the jungle, and this gorilla comes out the trees, sex mad the gorilla, and he rapes the lion. And the he's got a hold of the lion. He said, "I'll kill you for this when you let go of me." So he slings the lion, and he's away the gorilla, and he jumps over the garden into the missionary's place. And the old missionary sat there reading the paper, and the gorilla cracks the missionary on the chin, rips his clothes off, puts the white collar on, and picks the paper up. And the lion comes round the corner, and he said, "Have you seen a gorilla in here?" He said, "You don't mean the gorilla who's just raped the lion down by the water?" He said, "Oh my God, is it in the Times already?"
Well, before the farting came in, I was going to...
Well, this was still a family show. This man had an idea.
Superman will save us!
It was a wee tune that I was after. But with the mouth, if that's all right.
The mouth music, Murray. Give the man the mouth music. See, when you learn the Gaelic singing, the first thing you have to learn is how to say hello to people. Have you ever seen Gaelic singers? They go, "Hey and the ho, ha."
Right, before Josh McRae, you...
Okay, the news.
Super Grand.
That's right. I shall arise and go now. Play my instrument and sing you a song. I'll run like Dennis and Dennis's father.